Welcome all in the BME lectures. Here we are going to study unit number 5, power absorbing devices. So this unit number 5 will be divided in total 3 parts. Part A consists compressors, B pumps, and C refrigerator and air conditioners. So today, along with introduction of power absorbing devices, we are going to see compressors. So what is mean by power absorbing devices? So power absorbing devices that are going to use work energy from outside source to increase the energy of the working fluid. In shortly, it going to use the energy from outside source to increase the energy of the working fluid during cycle. That is called power absorbing devices. Then you want to see what are different power absorbing devices. So that consist pumps, compressors, blowers, fans, refrigerators, and air conditioners. So out of these pumps, compressors, refrigerator, and air conditioner, we are going to study in details. So today we want to see first compressor. So specifically, that is, you can say air compressor. So what is air compressor? It is a machine providing gas at high pressure, that is called compressor. In shortly, it is the machine which is going to provide gas or fluid at high pressure, that is called compressor. So how it going to work? So it is going to take atmospheric air through suction hole or intake hole. Then in cylinder it going to compress, at second stage compression, and by this delivery valve it going to deliver with high pressure to the storage vessel. Here now, this process of compression of air, it requires work done, or for that process work should be done on it. So that work done means, can say, rotation of this crank or movement of piston, all this required. So it is done or driven by prime mover. Now we are going to see classification of compressors. So there are different types of compressors. We want to first classify reciprocating compressors here. So there are different types. First is the single acting compressor, then double acting compressor, and then rotary compressors. So first we are going to see reciprocating compressor. So what is mean by reciprocating compressor? Again, reciprocating compressor consists of two types: single acting compressor and double acting compressor. So what is the difference in these two, single acting and double acting compressor? Here this is the single acting compressor and this is the double acting compressor. So first we will see single acting compressor. In single acting compressor, suction and compression of the air takes place only one side of the piston. Means what that happens, suction and compression of that air, it takes place at the only one side of piston, and it will have one discharge per revolution of the crankshaft. If you compare with the same double acting compressor, here suction and compression of the air takes place at both sides of the piston, and it will have two discharge lines or two discharge per revolution of the crank. Now in second video we will going to study pumps. Also pumps having two types, single acting pump and double acting pump. So almost here pump and that compressor having means can say sorry, working almost it is same. So details of that pump you will see in that second video. Now next term here, that is the pressure ratio. So it is the ratio of discharge or outlet pressure to the intake or suction pressure. So there are different alternative names to that pressure ratio. If you want to see simple term, pressure ratio, it is, you can say, ratio of discharge to the intake or outlet pressure to the intake. Means it is the ratio of outlet pressure to the inlet pressure, means how much pressure at the outlet you have obtained and how much you have taken at the intake. The ratio is nothing but the pressure ratio. Second term is the FAD, that is free air delivered. It is nothing but the actual volume of surrounding air which is sucked by compressor and delivered at discharge pressure. The unit of this free air delivery is nothing but the meter cube per minute. Means whatever area volume, actual volume of surrounding air which is sucked by compressor and delivered at the high pressure, that is nothing but the free air delivered. Now we are going to see working of single acting compressor. Before we are going to see working, we will see different parts one by one. So here we start from bottom. So here bottom part, that you can say it is nothing but the crankcase of the compressor. Crankcase means this, whatever this cover of the crank, that is nothing but the crankcase. Then here crank connected to the crankshaft. So here can say that is crankshaft. Then here is the crank. Then crank is connected to the connecting rod. So this part, that is the connecting rod. Then piston, this part here located inside cylinder, that is piston. Then this part, that is cylinder, and here this is the suction valve, or can say inlet valve, and here this is the delivery valve. So from this suction valve, surrounding air, free air, that going to suck inside this cylinder, and with help of this piston connecting around that crank arrangement, slider crank arrangement, it is going to compress and then deliver to the reservoir pressure vessel with the high pressure. This way it is going to work. Now we have seen different parts. Now we are going to see working. So first figure, it is going to giving position of suction stroke, and second figure that going to giving us showing working of compression and delivery stroke. So if you see both figures, both are the different. In suction stroke, what happens? This piston moves downward direction. Here we have an arrow, so we are going to see. So here piston moves downward direction. Because of that, here whatever volume of this cylinder, that is going to increase. So pressure, that is going to below atmospheric pressure. So that time this inlet valve, that is going to open, and surrounding air going to absorb because of vacuum created in the cylinder, and In this way suction stroke going to complete it. So during that time this delivery valve going to remaining closed. Now after suction completion suction stroke, what happens here, this inlet valve going to close, and now this also remaining closed up to the end of this compression stroke. So now piston moves from here opposite bottom to top. So because of that, here volume of this cylinder, this is the volume that going to change, is it going to decrease. So because of decrease in volume, pressure of this air going to increase. So it going to increasing continuously till this piston moves from bottom to top, and at the end of achieving their pressure range, high pressure, at the end of compression stroke, this delivery valve going to open, and through this delivery valve that compressed air with high pressure, they are going to exit and going to stored in pressure vessel. In this way this compressor going to work. Now again, if you are going to see details working, what happens in this stroke. So suction stroke, as we have seen here already, piston up during that time piston moves it in the downward direction, downwards. That time delivery valve is closed, so this all is remaining here closed. That time only inlet valve is open, piston moves from top to bottom, so this volume going to increase. Now compression and delivery stroke, this second stroke. In second stroke, what happens, here this piston going to move upward direction. So that time after reaching that almost upside position, means increasing pressure to the highest position, that time this outlet valve going to open, and that high pressure air going to deliver to the pressure vessel. Now second type of compressor, that is double acting compressor, reciprocating compressor. So here this same process going to take place, means here suction, then compression, and can say delivery that occurs similar mannerly, but in it going to appearing in both sides of the piston. Then applications of the compressors, it going to use in spray painting, then in refrigeration and air conditioning industries, mining machineries, in blast furnace to operate pneumatic tools like drill, riveting machines, etc. So here we have studied in this first video what is meant by power absorbing devices. Then first part, that is the compressors, we have studied. In that again we have studied single acting compressors and then double acting compressor.